Would you like to learn from those that are taking their lives, their businesses, and their passions to the next level? Best-selling author of Speakeasy and master connector Lou Diamond is here to connect you to some of the most inspiring and amazing people on this planet. Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
Welcome, everyone, to an absolutely fantastic episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I'm your host, Lou Diamond. Today on Thrive Loud, we've got somebody pretty cool. He's the inventor of Amazon Alexa, something I know you're all familiar with. He's the former leader in divine security at Netflix and tech innovation at Nike. He's the holder of 40 patents with decades of startup and innovation experience. And currently, he's the CTO at Champion Venture Partners, an amazing entity which we are starting to talk about in this episode. I am thrilled, honored, and very excited to bring you Thrive Loud listeners, Ed Crump. Ed, welcome to Thrive Loud.
Thanks for having me, Lou. It's great to see you.
Yeah, I had the pleasure of hanging out with this fine, handsome gentleman in South Florida a little over a week ago, actually. We're recording this. I know this episode's coming out in early April, but this was in late February when we got together. Yeah. And man, I mean, first of all, I was like, holy cow, I've heard of this guy. But more notably, he's got such an incredible story. I don't even want to tell it though. I want to pass the baton to you. What I would love you to share with the listeners and viewers, Ed, is kind of, I don't want to go all the way back to the womb, but I kind of want to understand how what you're doing now became your gig.
Yeah, well, that sounds great, Lou. I'm very happy to do that. This is it's a pleasure to be on here. I've seen some of your other guests, and I'm honored. You know, it's awesome. And maybe just to kind of kick this off, you know, I've been a technologist all my life, and I sold my first program when I was 12, so that's a little too far back, you know, when you think about the womb. But I've been doing this for a long time. I've been an entrepreneur, let's say, for about 35 years now, and I've done lots and lots of startup companies, which is really my passion, is getting in and solving hard problems, building teams, building products, you know, for scale. But I also ended up joining a few, and I've got some great sunlight in my face, like we just talked about. But I also worked in some large companies as well. And so I spent about 5 years doing crazy projects for Jeff Bezos. And the least crazy of those ideas was Amazon Alexa. So I got some, like you said, 40 odd patents because of all the amazing things that came out of that work. You know, Jeff had an incredible vision. And in fact, the vision that he started with was he wanted to build a holodeck, which is just, when you can think about, like, you know, Alexa, you know, that's a small piece of what a holodeck really is. So it was a phenomenal experience, really enjoyed, you know, building out the team there. As you mentioned, I spent a couple of years doing security, you know, device security over at Netflix. And I'd met Reed Hastings when he's actually his first startup company back in 1994. So he's the reason I became an entrepreneur. So between Bezos and Reed, you know, it's just basically I've got a wealth of people that were curating my career, if you will. And also kind of brought tech innovation to Nike. They're an incredible product innovation company, as everybody knows, and they needed to kind of really take what they've been doing for 50 years and bring in tech into it. So, you know, the idea of all the digital experiences and whatnot. And that leads me, ironically, like, I never would have joined Amazon. I'm glad I did. I never would have joined Nike. I'm really glad I did, because I'm a startup guy. But I also never would have joined a venture firm. But I am super, you know, the universe has a way of doing this. And so I joined Champion Venture Partners basically middle of last year, because they're actually the culmination of the story arc I just gave you, which is they get after sports science, health and wellness, and all of the sports kind of ecosystem around it are the things that I'm passionate about. And if you think about why Alexa is so successful, and will be even more so as the new version, the Plus version, comes out. It's like it's there to make us better, right? It interacts with us in a way, like I was just mentioning to you, Lou. My mom's 95, and she gets up every morning and says, "Alexa, turn the lights on." She doesn't even think about it, right? And she talks to Alexa as the woman, right? She's like, "There's the woman. She's telling me these things. And, it's like she interacts with this, and that's think about where we're at today with ChatGPT and all of these. That's the world. So yeah, that's the story arc of how I got here. And CVP is really just my ability to get after things in a way I never even dreamed that I'd have this opportunity. So, and I'm very happy to share more about that. But maybe
Yeah.
I'll give you the baton back for a minute.
First of all, it's awesome, and you mentioned that you were honored to be here, and we're laughing about the sunlight, viewers, and we'll get a chance to see this poor guy. We may need sunglasses because he is this cool. By the way, I've gotten to hang with him. He broke out a really cool fedora at the event that we were at just recently, and he looked damn good. There we go. Okay, keep it on.
It's a
I
little
think
bit
it'll work
easier.
good. A little easier.
It actually is working. Yeah.
I think this is something we've talked about on Thrive Loud a bunch. Basically, and I love what you've been doing because every company today is a technology company, whether we like to think of it or not. And your example about Nike needing to figure out how to digitize, I've seen some of the stuff now where you could build your own sneakers and shoes or customize all the components. Technology is such an important part of how we connect. And what a vision, I guess, between you and Bezos over at Amazon, recognizing, like, because it was interesting, right? Because Siri actually preceded Alexa, and then Alexa kind of like took it to another level. It was one of those
Yes.
rare instances, I guess we could say, that Amazon might have beat Apple in certain ways. Two of the biggest companies in the world. But I think
Google
this
was
is,
there too.
yeah, Google was there too, right, with all this stuff.
Yeah.
So my question, I guess, to you is, I love how you've brought a bunch of stuff together, and from, I love a venture entrepreneurial guy working in some of now the largest companies who would still be deemed in most of the world as kind of innovative, cool places, but we know that they've just gotten so large and so big.
Yeah.
Bringing all these technologies together, and this is where I wanted to go with, that's probably the next big horizon, to your point, between the AI and voice and all the digital interactions in our phones, in our ears, in our eyes. As we put on glasses, we'll see all this stuff. Help me understand, I guess, from someone who's, what's going on between your ears, how you think about bringing this stuff together, because sometimes you have to take risks, and some of these places don't want to do it. Some of them know they need to do it. How do you get out of the box to make the stuff that I guess we now are so accustomed to that actually ends up being, my Amazon thing's right here, in a box?
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah.
Exactly. Lou, it's a really interesting point that you're bringing up, and there is sort of there's a playbook here, right? And if you think about I'll just take Amazon as a good example of something. There is no way that a company could build something like Alexa. If you think about it, it's impossible, because you had Apple sitting there with Siri, you had Google sitting there with Google Assistant, but they weren't great products, right? They were, you could use them, you could talk to Siri, whatnot. But if you think about a big company, they often get placed in the technology, they've got something and they just don't know where to go with it. And so if you think about what Bezos did really, really well, right, and all the amazing people around him, is taking that kernel of a really audacious big goal. I think
BHAG.
I think it was said, BHAG, right? It was said at the conference. And imagine, like, you have to have somebody who has that vision and that can basically fund it, right, for something like that. The reason this is important is the reason that we were able to get Alexa out the door in about 3 years is because there was a relentless focus on the customer, and there was a relentless focus on it's going to happen. That's one of those Jeff Bezos things. It's like, what's not going to be different in a few years? So how do we do this at a company like Nike? It's different, right? This is a very different animal. There's a very successful company for 50 years, and they've been shipping products and building out the most amazing things, and they know how to do it, right? You're walking into a situation where they don't need you. Right. In fact, that's why I would never have joined Nike, except all of a sudden, hey, people want to bring this in. The CEO was talking about bringing in tech innovation. And so the way you get after this is you have to, you have to get into the culture of, the company you're working with. Right. I'm talking about digital transformations in general for big corporations. Startup companies are a little bit different, but you have to get in there. Like, what are they currently doing? Right. Come in fresh and understand what they're currently doing. Take shoes and apparel. Well, how are they, what are the digital experiences that would go right alongside of that? And if you were a startup company, which is, again, what was very successful at Amazon, treating it like a startup company, how could you take all of the brand and the marketing and everything they're currently doing, leave it alone? I mean, obviously don't try to change it, but add right next to it. So when you can do that, when you can find, in fact, that's kind of how we went after the tech innovation office at Nike, is you bring all that together. Now, you correctly identified something. What's going on between the ears, as scary as that may, be in there, right? I've been getting after something for a while, and it was born out of Alexa. And every company like Nike, they have a piece of it that they're doing. And the portfolio companies that we're getting after with CVP, I'm thinking about, imagine 15, 20 years, maybe 5, personal AIs that are yours, that are your, some people call it a digital twin, but I want all the constellation of technologies that, make that possible. Data privacy, data security, data monetization. Like, hey, that was my data that I ran up the stairs, and my health monitors and all, that's my data. So when you think about what the future looks like, how do we get there? And like with Alexa, it was the holodeck. That's a 50-year, 100-year kind of thing. Well, you build Alexa because you can build that in 3 years with the right amount of effort. And the same thing with personal AI. We have a constellation of companies around us that are getting after pieces of it. Decentralized finance here, smart environments over here, smart apparel. You have your AR experiences. These are the Ray-Ban glasses, for example. And then you look across where you want to get to, and then you have to kind of figure out how can you pull that together. So again, it's a long-term vision, and getting after it one bite at a time, like that. I think that
how do you eat an elephant? How do you eat an
right?
elephant one bite at a time?
Yeah.
First of all, and thank you for sharing that. I want to just one more double click on this particular topic, because I know I wouldn't be doing my job, or I know what people are listening and thinking too. Because you mentioned data security, and obviously Alexa. When it was first doing it, everyone was like, "Oh my God, I'm saying out loud that I'm searching for a new cup that I'm looking to purchase, and all of a sudden it's showing up in my Amazon account, or all of this." Who's listening and what's listening now? I know that these are difficult questions to answer, and not always necessarily
Not
true.
really.
But share maybe a little bit about the interaction about when voice is being communicated and brought in as data. No different than searches. When I search on certain things, or I click on, I know when I click on algorithms right now, and I go to say, I want to go follow Ed Crump on social, and I'm going to start to see the things that are related to what he's involved with. That's why that's happening algorithmically. Is that what's happening voice-wise from Alexa?
No. So, but that's a great. This is, but it's a great. I mean, everybody likes a story, right? So it's something where, if you think about how we started Alexa, this was the primary concern we had, which is this thing did not exist at the time. Right. So the minute you stop trusting it, you're not going to use it anymore. And if it adds a lot of value, you might give it some license. But the ability for it to listen to you, there's a little component inside there, a little DSP they call it, and it is listening for that. It's like me, saying, "Hey, Lou," right? It's listening for me to talk to it. There's a huge amount of work that went into modeling where the sound is coming from. So, are you talking to it, right? So we went through a lot of effort to make it so that it was privacy preserving. Now, the minute you start talking to it, clearly your voice is going across, the wires, is going into data centers, is going through, machine learning models. Amazon is a great example, and other companies have, jumped on board with this too, is you have to keep that data away from yourself, from the developers. And so there's a lot of systems around these, there's a lot of protections around protecting your data, so that let's say as a machine learning engineer, I don't necessarily get access to any of your data. So right off the bat, when you see something where you're talking or whatever, and all of a sudden you start to see these things show up in your advertisements, has a lot more to do with, are you in the room with somebody that has been searching for that? And if you actually map that back, it's not as hard as you think to actually figure out, well, hey, I know that you're in Stockton, California, right? And so anyways, and I know you're near me, let's say, because we're on the same Wi-Fi. So there's a variety of things that are still creepy, I'm not. I wouldn't say I like it. Okay, but it's not the listening for me. I would say we talked about this at the event. It's like for me, this is why our data is so important to secure to me, because everything that you ever say, everything that you do really should be, it's yours to control. Right
Right.
now on a public podcast, people can record the screens and they can take advantage of it, but the ability to say, I created this, and there's a hard kind of like, box around, hey, this really was created by me. And we had somebody ask a question about how do you know where something came from? This is how we're going to get to securing our data,
Yeah.
is that ability to control it like that. So
I think I forgot the movie what it was. It was the Tom Cruise futuristic movie where
mm,
he's in the opening scene, he's walking through. Oh yeah, where's all
yeah,
the hands? But he's also
minority.
Minority Report. When he's
Yeah,
walking through a shopping mall or wherever he's walking
yeah,
through, they're saying his name. It would be along the lines of like, Ed, check out this particular
yeah,
jacket that would be ideal for you, or look at these sunglasses that you should be using because
right.
it's cold outside. Bring yourself a jacket. Like I
Yeah,
thought about it, and I'm like, that's we've taken it to another level. And to your point, the ability to create those digital twins that will be able to be the people that we ask around the house. Not only as your mom is telling people to turn the lights on, but hey, let's record this, or give me a note for this, or do all the things that we need to do. These are phenomenal assets that
hmm,
technology is bringing to our fingertips. Which you're right, it's a little scary and creepy, but it's also
yeah,
we talked a ton at this offsite we were about making our lives more efficient and using time, getting what AI and a lot of things will do, combining all these
yeah,
technologies, make our lives a little bit easier and not focus on doing the detail stuff. That's going to get done
yeah.
for us. And then we could do some real things like think better and do all those things that you do all the time between your ears, which is pretty cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll follow up on that because I think you're on it.
Yeah.
And this is also why I did that kind of segue into the personal AI, because really, when you think about, and I'm going to put the glasses back
Yeah,
on, I
put them
love the
back
fact
on.
that
You look
every
cool
time
with
I'm
it anyway,
talking,
man. The
oh,
sun's
so
shining in. I love it.
yeah. So if you think about kind of what you said, there's, the AI, the technology is there to make us better, right? And that's my philosophy. And that's why I'm getting after things that are like an Alexa on steroids, right? We want to have everybody on the planet get, be better, right? How do we, improve people's lives? So that ability to have your data be controlled by an entity that you control. As
Yeah.
you said, I want all of those features. I want to be able to say, turn the lights on, turn the lights off. I want my AI to know that you and I are about to be on a podcast together, right? And it's like, hey, remind me about the last conversation that Lou and I had. Well, that would be, a pretty invasive thing if you think about something listening to our conversations. But I want that. I want us to have that kind of context without it being unnecessarily shared or even shared at all. Like my AI and yours could talk and they could say, hey, what would you like to talk about today? Well, Ed
Yep.
is on about personal AI or something. I feel like that's where we're going. And to your point, we need to have that shift. Like you take a Nike. Nike is a great example of a company that has legal contracts around how your data can be used. But there's the systems that control it are not there. Like
Right.
if you're Ed Crump and you go into the lab and they take a bunch of measurements and things, they have that data in their computers. But I would rather have that data on my phone
Hmm.
or in my world that I could then give them access to in a secure and maybe privacy preserving way. That's where we're going. And that's
Yeah.
not just me, right? This is where
No,
the
no,
industry is going.
I love it.
Yeah.
We're going to flirt a little bit with what you're doing with Champion Venture Partners. I say that
Yeah.
because Thrive Lab community should know that we're going to have a special episode with two of the other founding partners of Champion Venture Partners coming on a program in a few weeks. So stay tuned, that is coming. But with that, I want to talk about this is exciting work. I love the range of what you guys are working on and the type of, the projects that you're looking into, but you're also bringing together what an unbelievable diverse group of people and humans that are just awesome. Let's talk about that aspect of it, from which obviously is what attracted you to this, and obviously the upside of
Mhm.
where it can go. Help educate a little bit. We're gonna just do like the iceberg bit of the tip of the iceberg here, because there'll be more
Yeah.
of a deep dive on it later. But I'd love to get your take of what you love about this new venture you're involved with.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I think maybe at a top level for everybody here, I'm grateful, for the experiences and the things I've had in my life, and I like to work with awesome people. And like I said, sometimes it's hard to know on the outside, that what are the folks going to be like. But you can tell from, people's backgrounds, that, hey, these folks have capabilities and, you know, their experiences are almost guaranteed to, help me grow and help me kind of get after what I would love to do. So specifically at CVP, these are incredible individuals that have a wealth of, obviously, from a sports, professional sports background. Most of them have, some experience there, if not a lot. Some people have won Super Bowls. And so, but the business side and what they've done with that and how they've created like their nonprofits and how they get after, improving, health and wellness, and the vision is huge. So specifically what I'm interested in and have been, and that's why I joined CVP, sports science, health and wellness. I love finding technology, like I said earlier, about bringing that together. And that's what this team was doing, but not with a technologist. They didn't have me originally when they kicked this off. But now together, we're able to bring all of this together under one roof. And that, for me, is fairly unique. And it's also why I find this team so compelling. As an entrepreneur, I can build out great tech, and then I can actually, get a lot of people to use it. But, if you want to walk into like a sports stadium and you want to walk into and talk to teams and you want to talk to the ecosystem around that, as an entrepreneur, tech entrepreneur, you don't have access like that. Yeah. But this team is all about that access. And when you join, let's say as an investor, or you work with us on the management company side, you get all of that. That's, to me, that's super exciting. And it means we can do things you would never be able to do on your own, even in a company that's focused on sports science. I've worked with a lot of companies that they get really, really awesome tech, great ideas, great customers. They can't scale it. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
You'll hear more about it. A little bit of a teaser for future episodes coming in. This is one impressive group, and for the record, tons of impressive individuals. So everyone's going to love to hear, and probably we'll be hearing more about it more and more as we move forward. And excited that you're part of it.
True.
So I love asking innovators this question, and I usually ask this for content creators, but I would love to hear where this goes. Look, you've been thriving throughout your career. You are one of the true success stories from, he's coming to us from Santa Cruz right now. Is that where you are right now? I forget.
Yep.
And you've been successful in that world, which is just awesome. And on a whole, obviously, you have been thriving. Yet we all have had those days, those moments, those windows of time where we're not quite kicking on all cylinders and things aren't necessarily going our way. Our listeners, Ed, would love to know, when you have trouble thriving, what practice do you seek, or maybe what individual do you seek out to help get yourself back on the thriving track?
Oh, that's a really good question. I love that, Lou. And again, I'm grateful. I have had tremendous folks around me, and this happens all the time, right? It's like, I'm very passionate about what I do, and I have a lot of, just ability to get things done, but having those mentors. And again, I'm going to pick on Reed Hastings for a minute. When I first, my first startup company was his, right? It's basically having somebody like Reed sit down with you and just talk to you about like how they are seeing, let's say, a product. I still remember those conversations. Right. And then I now can go to, within my network, I have lots of mentors. I have lots of people that maybe don't even realize they're mentors. Right. Mm-hmm. And I can leverage hey, when I'm kind of, struggling with something, sometimes it's personal, and sometimes it's, how do I get past this in the business? So I absolutely, I leverage my network. And you saw this at the Wealth Mastery event, right? It's like, hey, we're in this together. Everybody kind of raises each other up.
Yeah. We're going to give a shout out right now before I give the plug section to you here.
Oh, yeah.
We met at the Wealth Mastery Summit, which is an incredible group run by Alexa D'Agostino, along with so many other incredible people. Amelia Antonetti, who's been on Thrive Lab before, along with several other incredible people who we've had as guests on the program not too long ago, and obviously we're featuring Ed here. So I walked away spoiled, basically, having all these people saying I get to talk to them one-on-one afterwards. So with that, Ed, do me a favor, share with the listeners all the places people can find you, websites, URLs, social handles, where they can learn about Champion Venture Partners. We'll put it in the show notes. Gets more engagement when they hear it from you.
It's awesome. Yeah, I think right off the bat, you can find us at championventurepartners.com and championmanagementco.com. And so both of those are kind of embody a lot of what I'm doing right now. And so you can obviously you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. Ed Crump. I got a little vanity plate there, so LinkedIn.com/slash Ed Crump. And but for the most part, I think one thing that Lou, you kind of are touching on is when you think about finding me, getting involved. It's like we have an opportunity here to help each other out. So I don't necessarily need to have fame and fortune, but when people reach out to me, and you are, like you said, you're working on a hard problem, that's what the management company is really there for, because we can bring together tech, marketing, business, leadership. And so that to me is what I'm passionate about. So I would recommend to every one of your listeners out there, think about what is your touch with a management company like that. And those are the folks that I would get involved with. So that's a plug for why we're doing this. And I'm grateful, because I would never have had access like this when I was doing my startup companies.
Yeah, such a true thing. And it really is a magical group here. So with that, Ed, we're going to go down Fun Street here on Thrive Loud, and we're going to have a good time. Ed is a genuinely fun guy. First of all, we are going to talk to him that we're calling this the sun shines through the window episode. I mean, poor Ed with the sunglasses. I'm loving it, but hey, it's a beautiful morning out in California, I guess, is where we're recording this.
I can't complain.
So with that, I'd love to start this off. Does Ed Crump have an all-time favorite movie that he loves, one that whenever it's on, it's like your go-to? Oh, I'm sucked in, and I'm going to watch the rest of it.
Oh my gosh, yeah. I have a lot of movies like that. I mean, there's think about like The Matrix. It's like those are the kind of things that just really expanded my mind. And of course, I'm in this field, right? This is so pertinent for me. That's a good example. And another one, though, that comes up a lot, which I just think is hilarious, is Galaxy Quest. You ever seen that movie?
Yes, love that movie. It's like it's really good because it's a spoof of Star Trek, but it turns out to turn into this adventure space film, which turns out to be great. It's really good. I'm a big fan of that one.
And the thing about movies to me is that you can pick out quotes from movies, and in the middle of a really serious meeting, you can drop some of these and maybe half the room will get it. So it's like somebody was saying something, I forget what, and I was like, hey, don't open that. Is there air? You don't know? It's just crazy stuff. So you can say these things, or like, you're in no danger of solving that problem. And I forget which movie that comes from now, but
I think it was Galaxy Quest.
Yeah, it might have been. So I love both of those. Yeah,
it's good stuff, man. All right.
Yeah, how about you?
So I've got a lot. So Rocky's my go-to because of the inspiring piece, but I mean, there's a ton of different ones that I love to go into. And I will go back to The Matrix. While the original is still the OG, they're all really good, and they get so deep into really get you thinking into this world that's scary and fittingly, obviously, in an AI authentic, digital twin type of world, in a whole virtual world that we could be dealing with. I guess it's the ultimate scariest thing that we would ever put ourselves into. But I do remember I watched it in the theater, the original Matrix. And when Lawrence Fishburne's character, Morpheus, holds up the battery and he shows it, and then Neo, Keanu Reeves' character, he says, let me out, and they take him out of the Matrix. and Pantalone goes like, uh-oh, stand back, he's gonna blow. He's gonna blow. He's gonna totally blow.
Oh my god.
I love that. Even I remembered in the theater, I'm like, whoa, that's deep. Wow, they're going there. That's what this is. Holy cow, what am I watching? Game changer.
And they have these, it's game changing. They have those phrases, like Lawrence Fishburne saying, fate is not without a sense of irony.
Right.
There's these things where you're like, this applies to all of our lives. So
It's so true.
yeah, it's good.
So we're going to get ourselves onto Fun Street, the Speakeasy Pub Crawl. We're going to stop at all of Ed Crump's favorite places. Here
Oh
we
yeah.
go. Of
All
late,
right.
Ed, is there a song that you love to listen to or one that pumps you up?
Oh my gosh. Boy, now I'm drawing a blank. Yes, there is. This is a funny one. Dua Lipa.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm trying to remember the name of this song, but absolutely, it's every time I hear it, it just makes me feel great.
Okay.
So, yeah,
We'll figure out which one it is. We'll do
yeah,
some decoding, but we love Dua Lipa on this.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. Favorite food that's not a dessert?
Favorite foods that are not a dessert. Um, I absolutely love lobster.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, and shellfish in general. I think so. Yeah, I would actually pick probably lobster, and I have, in fact. Well, whenever I'm traveling, if I'm going to a place that has seafood, yeah,
You're going in.
yeah, I'm going
Favorite,
in.
favorite dessert?
I don't eat desserts.
Okay.
I
At all?
generally don't eat a lot of sugar. In fact, when I was younger, I was drinking like 6 Cokes a day and desserts and everything. And there's something it does to your brain, at least mine, and it really slows me down. And what I found is after I stopped eating sugar, right, I just mentally was far more acute. And to be honest, and maybe share more, is I learned over time that intermittent fasting is a secondary part of this, which is
Yeah.
your body, when it doesn't have the sugars like that, your mind gets a lot more clear. And so, yeah, definitely I stay off sugars. And of course, when I'm out with people, everybody's like, hey, try this. I'm not religious about it, so to speak, but definitely I try not to, because I don't feel good. I don't think as well.
Totally good. An activity you wish you did more of?
Oh my word. Well, here's right off the bat. I've got a long list, but one thing I love is the ocean.
Mm,
My mind, it just opens me up. I feel so like at peace, but also so energized. I mean, the universe is a huge place. I said this at the event, where it's just staggering when you're looking at the ocean in front of you and then just extrapolating out. So that really helps my mind. So one activity I absolutely love is scuba diving.
yeah.
I,
Love it.
I, I just, I got to be a rescue diver, went through all the PADI training. And what I love about it is just getting in the water and just how calm, you're swimming around and
Mm,
you can just see a different world. You can float, and again, it opens my mind and I love it. And, yeah, I've just had so many positive experiences. I'm grateful, for being able, I live in Santa Cruz, right? You can go hop in the water and just go,
it's awesome. And
but I want to do more.
an activity you wish you did less of?
Activity I wish I did less of. That's a really good question. I generally don't do things I don't want to do. So, I know I try to be introspective about things I don't like, and then I kind of come up with a plan to say, well, why are you doing that?
His digital
Um,
twin will be doing it in the future, whatever that activity will be. That
that's
is
right.
for sure.
Oh, okay, fair enough. One thing that I do a fair amount, and this is a consequence of getting to the part I want, which is, you're right. I do spend a lot of busy work helping, or getting to the spot where now we can do the things I want to work on. And so I'm very okay cleaning. Like you saw me at the event, right? I have no problem cleaning and getting things ready so we can have that kind of conversation with
Yep.
each other. So, but yeah, I guess, I don't need to spend so much time cleaning and like busy
Like that.
work.
A new activity, a new one that you've
Mm.
recently tried that you like
Oh
so
yeah.
much you want to tell all our listeners and viewers to try.
Oh yeah. I was in Mexico a year or so ago, and just basically parasailing.
Oh, awesome.
Just
Yeah.
oh, I love it. And this is actually I was studying to be a pilot for a while. I just love flying as well for similar reasons to the ocean,
Nice.
and that's one of those things where I would love to do more activities like hang gliding and parasailing. I've been skydiving once, and I would love to do that more. So yeah, that'd be
I,
great. I mean, I recommend it for everybody.
I tried kite surfing about a
Oh
year
yeah.
ago. That,
Yeah.
by the way, it's hard. It's very hard,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's also really intense, and you can't believe how windy it is out in the ocean. That's the other thing to learn.
Oh my word.
It's a good core workout, but it also is intense how fast you can go. But all
I've,
parasailing, all the same things. I love it.
yeah, yeah.
Um, If I could snap my fingers and Ed Crump could be anywhere in the world,
Ooh,
where is he?
I love Hawaii. Oh my word! Right now, I love being on a beach. I told you about the ocean. I love kind of the folks that when you find yourself on an island, you find yourself on the beach in the ocean. It's just everybody's calm. There's so much that you can just relax and do. And for me, I have traveled all over the world. I love it. I love meeting people, and everywhere I go, and this is the beautiful thing in my life I'm grateful for, is I have a laptop with me. I can work on the beach. I can build companies on the beach. I can invent technology. I can file patents. That's where I would be. And so one thing that I would say is that for me personally, I love my family. I'm very devoted to them. And so I'm willing to, do things that are maybe not like I would like to be on a beach all the time, but then I would miss out on my friends, my family. So that's why I'm not on a beach right now.
Ed Crump, truly a pleasure. Guys thriving each and every day. And as all the viewers can see here on the YouTube, he's the coolest cat we've had on the show in a long time. Doing those early morning, the sun and shining right on you, my friend. Well, continued success to you. Good luck with CVP and everything that's going on with Champion Venture Partners. And obviously, again, such an honor to have you on the program. Truly a big fan. I literally said, Alexa, turn on the lights before we got into the room. So don't turn them off now. We had to shut them off.
Don't do it
right now. But thank you so much for everything you do, man. Thanks for having me.
By the way, Lou, you've been fantastic. I'm grateful that we've met, and thank you so much for having me on. You're amazing, really.
Right back at you, man.
You.
To all our listeners and viewers out there, thank you for joining us. Until next time, keep moving on and upward. Remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
Catch me or I go Houdini. You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Check us out on the web at thriveloud.com and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook at Thrive Loud. And check us out on the Good Pods app at Thrive Loud, where you can follow, listen, and connect directly to Lou and all of the Thrive Loud episodes. Thanks for listening.